morning. I am so excited about this new project because I'm already learning so much and I have so much to share. I have one half of a swan here, and I did this on purpose to demonstrate my observations that I made. Frank and Jackie, good morning. So glad to have you here. I'm going to encourage everyone, sculpture takes practice, and you would be shocked at how similar this is to learning to play a musical instrument. Like Cindy, good morning. Like when you start to play a musical instrument, I don't know if, like I play guitar, and I remember two instances. One was when I started for the very first time, and you can barely figure out how to make a chord. You can strum. And then now years later, I can play fingerstyle guitar. It's shocking to me where I used to be. But for middle of my life, I stopped playing guitar. I sold my guitar. I thought, I have to do art. I don't have time for guitar. And then I got it. I decided to take it up again. And I was like, I had been able to do chords very easily from my previous life in guitar. And now I could barely put my fingers in the same positions when I started up again. Now, of course, I have to play. If I don't play every day, I will lose it. And it is so similar what sculpture demands of us, because there's kind of this thing you lose if you don't do it on a regular basis. But anyway, just to get right to our project, because we have a 15-session challenge again, I hope you could try to sculpt something in the morning, if not this, something while you're watching, because it'll just make you so much better over time. And it's just something, you move your hands and you think, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. And then you come back and you go, wow, I really did make some progress. So this is a good thing. And the other thing I love about this is, especially doing animals, I have learned so much already about mute swans. I just thought they were beautiful birds. But boy, oh boy, am I learning a lot. And I put this link up this morning. This man, I think you can see the video there. He raised a swan from an egg, really. And the swan loves him. He did put it at a bird preserve very young, but he visits him every day. And the swan just is so happy to see him. And this is the type of swan we're doing. And look how big these swans are. They're massive. So I just think that he rides in the car with him. I'm going to back it up, though, to where you can just kind of see in the background the swan and the face. You can see close-ups of the face as you go along. So this swan is very small, and it's because we're going to put him in a setting. And I wanted to surprise you about halfway in what that setting's going to be like. But you might recall from when we got started, and let me switch to the other view, that I put a piece of this parchment paper, which looks just like tracing paper when you use it like this. I I started the half of the design, just like putting it over the tracing, or rather over the image. And these images are available, no charge. They're in the post section. You can download. I'm even putting the links in the videos that I'm making right now, the live streams. So you can download the images. Now, it's not perfect, and it was very hard to get it perfect, but you can see how you can really watch your proportions this way. I started making the wing too high, for example. And, here's the actual picture here. I lay it down and I do my measurements. I know this is like, oh, this is so dreary, but it's not, because really it's so easy just to measure. So I'm measuring from where he goes in the water, because that's our view. Let's see the top of the feathers. And you can see I'm pretty much on that, measuring like how big he is where he meets the water. And let's put it where you can all see it. I'm pretty close to that. Pretty close. Pretty close is good. You can't believe, Cindy, don't mess with a swan who has little ones, right? And there's some really great pictures of I mean, the swan is shockingly shaped like a boat. And there's a bunch of the videos I put up, the links and other um, uh, of the posts so far, and the little babies sit like it's in a boat. They're so cute. The little babies just ride on the mother like it's a little boat, and it's shaped like that. That's what's so cool. So I made one half so you could kind of see this process. This is my own idea of how to start a sculpture so you don't get lost on the proportions. And you can see it just fits on there nicely. And you know what? If you don't want to do it that way, that's fine. There's a million ways to get started. But I'm just trying to show you how not to get lost while you're doing it, especially if you're new to this. So what I did was I deliberately made it like that because I wanted to show you this picture. This is in the guide that's free to download, and I wanted to show you the width of the swan this way. All right, so and I'm not doing an actual mathematical division. I'm just guessing. But what I did was I took the half of that volume, and I can go back and do a mathematical version of it. But in other words, take that measurement, find out what it is in inches, and divide it in half. And then just do my 1/2 measuring, one half. But the better you do this, the more on target you're going to be. And then the hard parts, the swan's anatomy is actually very challenging. And let me show you these pictures I put together for you. I have some pictures here to show you. First of all, I'm going to show you this picture. And I think this is so interesting because, and let me switch to my other camera view for a minute. Let's see. Okay, so you can see, and I can't point with my finger, but you can look at the diagram and you can see the shoulder area. And then there's a bone that would actually, if you could see through the wing, you would see that the joint here, which is analogous to our elbow. It's like, it's really amazing how the same parts match up with a human being skeleton. So the the elbow is here, and then the wrist comes down here. And it's kind of like, there's your flight feathers. It's going back like that. How cool is that, right? So it's a little difficult because the whiteness of the swan and the just huge volume of feathers. I think I read on Linda and Rob Swager's site that they have 25,000 feathers. I mean, it's just, they're just so dense and beautiful. So it's going to be a little bit challenging to sort of see through all this. But if you can kind of get the idea of a zigzag that kind of goes up and then down and over. And there's other pictures that you can look at. I said this was going to be real easy, right? I think every sculpture has its challenges. Let me show you this one. And there's where you can kind of see through the middle. The feathers are so dense that you don't get this like sharp cutoff, almost like what I have already. You get this lovely sort of swoop in there, and I'm going to fix that because it's a little too sharp on mine. And then the last picture here I wanted to show you was, this is really helpful. Let me show you this picture all by itself if I can. I need to get it moved up. Best swan anatomy. Okay, here we are. And I'm going to make it bigger for a minute so you can really see that. And now this doesn't refer to this part as the elbow and then this part is the wrist. Now they're just talking about the feather groups. So there's these feather groupings, and this immature swan is a better way to almost see the demarcations, because once they become white, it sort of all blends in. But if you use these pictures that I made for you, and just start with these two views, let me get our picture showing here smaller. You use this view to start, and then that view to get the width of the body. And then I'll have more views coming because I know, like even this doesn't show you quite how smooth it is in the center and how wide it is in the center. So let's see, I have a few more minutes. I'm going to get right to sculpting now, just to show you. And I'm going to use this, let's clip this up. Clip this up so I can see it and hopefully you can see it. I'm going to put to the other view though, the other camera. There we go. Yeah, there you can see it. Okay, so I kind of warmed this up by putting it on my plate warmer, although it's not super warm. My clay is. And I'm just going to basically duplicate what I have done. There we go. I'm going to turn that over. Just fill that in. And this is a very unconventional way to do it, but it's because I want to show you the idea of getting those proportions. Look how incredibly soft my clay is when I heat it up. Just goes right on there like icing, which is, I want a piece that big. I'm just going to build it up quickly this way, and it'll cool down a little bit so I can smooth it with my hands in a minute. But I will check it in just a moment to make sure that my width is, I'm not going off on some, just delusional sculpture moment here. I'm going to try to check it all the time, so I keep in line with my measurements. And I'll work on this a little bit offline so that I have the whole thing, and then we can start to go into defining what goes where in these feather groupings, because that's going to create, and notice how small this piece is. It's small for a good reason. First of all, because the feather groupings are a little complicated, I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Let's bring my camera around a little bit here. There we go. Because the groupings of feathers in my guide are not that well defined. It's just one of these things where I want you to be able to get started. Even if you had to, and you can look at some of the swan pictures, even if you have to do what looks almost like a little boat, don't do these feathers up, but just do the swan and the body and have the wings down. There are pictures like that. Maybe use the proportions I give you, but put the wings down and flat. And when they are closed and flat, the swan is just this smooth white, almost like a little boat, like a rubber ducky in the water. That clay is still hot, very hot. So I'm having to just be careful. But what I'm going to do is basically match up the one side I did using my measuring tools as I go. And next time you're going to see both sides and the head more finished. So, because what we're going to do, we're going to make a really fun base that will be easy for you to do. But I want to get our swan right in the beginning. I want to get that right. What would be really nice is to make two swans together, because they really are beautiful together. So I'm just going to get that matched up. I don't have much more time on this live stream. Please think of any questions to ask as you go along. And remember that this is for practice. All of this is for practice. I mean, I should get everything finished. And my plan, of course, is to do that and then give you finished videos from start to finish that take about 30 minutes. You can always go and look at my live streams, go back to look at the live streams. But what I want to do is use the footage from these live streams to just edit out anything but get right on the project and show you how to do it. So that's my goal, and that won't happen until I'm finished school, which will be this summer. And but then it will be easy to just hone in on what project you want to learn and just follow the most important aspects of it. So are there any questions? Because I'm going to have to go in just a moment. Let's get to the other view. And if you have any questions and you think of them later, just put them in the in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. And don't forget to download the free guide with a PDF file with all the pictures I set up for you. And also look at those videos, which are really cool. Especially, you've got to watch. Let me turn off this, this picture real quickly. You've got to watch this video here, and it's in the link in the posts in the community area. You'll fall in love with swans if you weren't already in love with swans. And take a look at Linda and Rob Swager's, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing their name right, but their website, and I have a link there too. Thank you, Frank and Jackie, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oops, I sent the wrong, I just meant to send a heart. There we go. There's the heart.